Hello and welcome to the Light Beam Hour. We're very excited to have you here with us tonight. This program is designed to provide a forum for masterful teachers to share their individual messages and wisdom and to help people all over the world expand, heal, and awaken their lives. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cecily MacArthur, and I am the creator and host of the Light Beam Hour. So let me just introduce myself for a little bit. I am a spiritual teacher, life coach, speaker, writer, and my life mission is to help people connect with spirit, to awaken their authentic selves, discover their true purpose, and create the life of their dreams. So before I introduce my guests, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping so people understand the format here. So all of the attendees, you're going to remain muted while the call is going on, but we will have some time at the end for you to ask questions. If you're on the webcast, you also have an opportunity to ask questions there too. There's a little box to write them in. So hopefully we'll be able to have some time for that with Dawn at the end. So please ask questions. It's always great when people ask questions because everyone listening learns more. People are gutsy enough to raise their hands, and that's going to be *2 on your phone, and I'll remind you when we get there. But that's how I will identify you. And you definitely speak up and help to deepen the learning for everyone on the call. So thanks again ahead of time for participating. And let me introduce my guest. Tonight, my guest is Dawn James. I'm so excited to have her here. She is just an extraordinary lady. And let me just do a little intro for Dawn so you understand more about her background. She is a former corporate executive. She became a writer, speaker, and sound healer following a near-death experience in 2003. She's going to tell us about that. It's really cool. When she returned to the physical world, she was gifted with knowledge about spirituality, vibrational frequencies, higher consciousness, and the ability to facilitate healing within herself and others. She realized that she needed to live consciously and to utilize the spiritual gifts that she had been given. As a result, she is sharing her knowledge and passion for living with less stress, better health, and more harmony through her new book, Raise Your Vibrations, Transform Your Life, as well as teleseminars, workshops, and lectures across North America. Her website is www.raiseyourvibration, all one word, raiseyourvibration.ca. All right, so welcome, Dawn. It's nice to have you with us here tonight.
Oh, I'm so excited to be on your show, Cecily. Very excited. Thank you.
All right, well, wonderful. And I'm excited, too, so hopefully we'll get our audience excited because you've got a great topic and some really important messages to share with everyone tonight. So let's just start and go back to a little bit more about your background and tell us about what happened to you as a successful corporate career that you had going, and then you switched over to the light worker world. Tell us about how that happened and what the near-death experience was all about.
Well, the short answer would be it happened in a day, but the whole process probably took me 1.5 years to figure out what I was meant to really do with my life. I really divide my life based on the year 2003, and prior to 2003, I worked, went to school, went to university, got married, children, the whole 9 yards, and had been working mainly in finance, but then my career took off and I had more senior opportunities over about a 23-year period. And, I guess when you start your career, everything looks great, wonderful, the grass is green. But over the years, I found that I was very successful doing what I was doing, but in terms of my passion, my heart wasn't in it. And on top of that, there was a tremendous tremendous amount of stress. My last job, I was actually the general manager of a multi-million-dollar company, and just a lot of tremendous stress on me, especially when, you've got a family and I'm traveling, et cetera. So as we inched up to 2003, I started noticing I was feeling very detached, and that continued to get very profound. It affected my physical body. I had no desire to eat, and this went on for almost 3 months. Finally, I ended up in the hospital, and the combination of stress and, I'm going to say, spirit, divine intervention, I had what many people call a near-death experience, and there wasn't a lot of pain. It was simply, I simply left my physical body, and a lot of internal issues were going on during this period of time, and it just seemed like this was it. My heart started to slow down, and it just got slower and slower, and I remember hearing my last heartbeat, and I just left. And so I was conscious, but I was so far away from, my physical self, and I had a very profound awakening. And I have no recollection of time reference, but I know for a very, very short moment I was connected to every living thing on this planet. And that was a big eye-opener for me, that I was more than a physical being. I had this spiritual, this energy that had no limits. There's no form. You're everywhere at the same time. So when I came back, which to my surprise I came back, I remember the first thing I looked at my hands and I went, oh, that's me. And I went, whoa, what just happened? What the bleep? And I shared this with, my husband, and he couldn't make any sense of what had happened. But long story short, my life started taking a lot of profound changes. The way I looked at the world, what I saw, what I heard, even what I chose to eat. I changed my diet completely in a day. Things that I used to enjoy, I stopped. Things that I valued, I didn't want anything to do with. And I became very, very, very aware of the living force in all things, people, animals, trees. I spent a lot of time in nature. And it's like I was rediscovering the world. And I could not go back to the 9-to-5 job, let's put it that way. Not happening.
And this happened over what period of time then?
The near death occurred in minutes, but when I came back, it really took me. I had a difficult time trying to figure out why I came back and what I'm supposed to do. That took me almost a year and a half to sort out what am I supposed to be doing now, and I had to figure. I needed something tangible. I started studying the healing arts in 2003, various forms of healing, Reiki, distance healing, pranic healing. It was just something in me I knew I had to do. I was guided. I had no teachers, but I had a lot of guidance from above, and I sought out people who became my teachers. And it was a very, very profound journey, meeting people from all over the world, in Ontario, but just different aspects of spirituality. I learned quite a bit. And towards the first year, I started practicing sound healing, using the crystal bowls and the Tibetan bowls, because I was a musician as a child, and I love music.
Can you talk more, Don, about what is sound healing? Because I'm not sure everyone listening would be able to understand what that is.
So sound healing, my definition of sound healing is you're consciously using the energy of sound and your intention with your intuition to help facilitate healing in someone else. And so sound carries a vibration, and with your intuition and intention, you can actually connect to what's happening with somebody energetically. For me, I listen to your body. I listen to the changes of the different frequencies going on with the assistance of the crystal bowls. That's kind of like my translator. So sound healing uses the higher frequencies of certain sound instruments. Some of the ones that I mentioned produce something called an alpha tone, and the alpha tone helps us heal our body. So it really activates your healing ability. And so crystal singing bowls and Tibetan bowls are just two instruments. There's many, many instruments that facilitate us getting to a place of healing by activating our own alpha wave in the body. And so we can move energy, we can change the pattern of energy, we can change the spinning of the chakras, etc., using sound and various other natural ways to do it. But sound is the one that I connect to the strongest.
It sounds like it was you were guided. You said so. It's a memory that you just knew how to do this.
Yeah, I just there's a whole language of resonance. I just understand it. So my hearing is very acute because I played piano for a couple decades, and I had a very strict teacher. So turn around, she'd press the note on the piano and say, "What note was that?" And you had to get it right. So I'm always listening to what the body's saying, and our bodies are always talking to us, always, always. It's just connecting to the message and listening to the subtle changes in amplitude and pitch and everything, and getting insight into whether it's a physical issue, emotional. Sometimes people hold on to memories and trauma, and they get stuck in certain places, so we try and move that along, because when energy gets stuck, as you know, it ends up manifesting into a physical issue, or a pain, or a discomfort, or an imbalance. It's like a migraine. What is a migraine, really? Right? It's too much overload of energy stuck in the head, brought on by different issues, but we need to see the energetic side of the problem and try and move that along, which sometimes helps the person deal with the core issue once that energy block is shifted out of the way.
So I interrupted you around the sound healing. Thank you for explaining that, and I understand it more myself from what you said, so that's great. But you started this journey to around using the crystal bowls and the Tibetan bowls to do the sound healing. You had more to the story, so we should keep going.
No. It's just just guided with my intuition, and I interpret what I hear in terms of what needs to be done. So there's a communication going on between the person, the client, the sounds that I hear, and what needs to be addressed. It's just a nice communication flow.
And so you did say you had some teachers, but this is just from the experience you had. This is something you just learned how to do. You knew how to do it. Sounds like it was almost like a memory for you.
In some respects, yes. And I know when one of the teachers that came into my life in 2003 was from an ashram. I was working with a Swami, and I had so many questions to ask about, the spiritual experiences I was having. And he said, "It seems to me you're recollecting things that you already did. You're just trying to remember to do the things that you've already done." But the rate at which the knowledge was coming through to me was very, very quickly. But I'd have to say the most profound thing that happened when I came back, when I look back at my life, is I really wasn't living consciously before 2003. I was just going through the motion of get up, go to work, do your thing, come home. We're going through the motions of life, but not fully consciously aware of the role that we play. We play a very active role in living, but sometimes you forget that and you just keep going through life. You know what I mean? It's
so
not,
what would if you were living consciously, how would it be different from just going through the motions? How would it look?
To me, it would look like you're not just jumping to things. You're not just living in a reactionary way. You're actually going to take time and reflect or think about what you're about to do, or question, wait a minute, okay, I've done this for the last 10 years, but is there a better way? Is this really, maybe what I'm doing is harming me or harming my relationship. Maybe I need to shift my perception a little bit and see how I can do things differently in a more harmonious way, as opposed to I'm doing it because I've always done it that way. And so it's some of these patterns that we live day to day to day are actually not helping us progress. And if we're not conscious even of what we're doing, then how are we ever going to change? How are we ever going to progress? And I think that's the key. How do you get to that point where you realize, oh, wait a minute, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, but it's not working. And sometimes it's hard to admit, right? It's hard to admit it's not working.
Well, I think there's a lot of pressure for people to just do that, though, to just go through the motions because we're conditioned to do that. So for you to be conscious, you're actually working against the norm to do that. There's expectations that you will just go along and do the day-to-day patterns because that you've been taught since you were a child.
That's true. And that's the difference between what I call, you can live passively or actively, because when you're living actively, you're actually partially influencing what's going on in your life. But on a passive way, you're just going through the motions and really not paying attention to, is this the best way? Is it the most, is this the most loving way to be? So how do we actually come to a point of improving situations? We need to feel that anxiety, that angst. We typically tend to have to feel that, I'm going to use the word anxiety, or you come against a wall and you realize, whoa, I have to change. I have to make a change here. This is not working anymore for me. And it's at that point we actually tap into what I call our higher wisdom or our inner wisdom and realize, wait, there's a different way to do this. There's a better way to do it. And that's when we become more conscious. So, yeah, when I look back, I'd have to say I woke up. I woke up in 2003 and started paying attention to life, not just going through life, to increase that awareness of my thoughts and my actions and my interactions with other people with new eyes. Yeah.
And when you have that awakening and people wake up, and a lot of people are doing that now, and I think a lot of light workers are here to help people to do that. But that is a shift that people do need to make in terms of paying attention to their life and realizing that they're much more powerful than they thought they were in terms of creating what they want in life. So,
absolutely.
So what did you create for yourself from this conscious place then? After you woke up and discovered these amazing gifts that you had?
Well, one of the first things I realized was just how connected we truly are. You could say, we're one, but to actually feel it. I remember actually sitting in a room full of people. It was around Christmas time, and we were singing Christmas carols, and for about 5 seconds, I felt connected to everybody in that room. It was like there was just one big ball of energy. And what I came away with there is just really understanding that when I'm in service working with somebody, there is no you, there's no me. We've come together as one to facilitate a healing. And so we're both actively involved in this. We've both agreed to do it. And I think that's the difference in life. When you recognize the oneness in somebody, there's less conflict. There's no need to judge or criticize. And things just move a lot smoother. And so what I'm co-creating every day is support and harmony and living as one, truly. And not seeing things as separate. It's really a collaboration. You know, it's like we collaborated to do this radio interview, right? So we are co-creating, you know, this event. And that's how it is with everything I do. So I'm just very thankful. Yeah, I'm thankful to have woke up in time to actually start doing this. So,
and I agree, because this actually, for me, I had an actual intention for 2011 to be a co-creating year, and I've done a lot of projects with other people and a lot of co-creating and a lot of being able to interview people like you today, down to me, it is the way of people moving away from the separateness and the competitiveness and the old way of being into a more collaborative and co-creative model that is creating a whole new energy for the planet.
Absolutely. And I hope it just doesn't end with, you know, people, that we start to appreciate the planet and work with the planet, because we all share this one little ball, right? And right now we haven't been treating it too nicely. So that same feeling, that same perception of oneness has to include, you know, our home.
Yes.
Because there's an interdependence here. There was a movie came out, a remake of a movie, forgot the title, but, you know, it was talking about the end of the world. And I guess this other life form came to the planet, and in the movie he says, you know, in order for the Earth to survive, we may not be here, right? Because if we're not honoring and taking care of this planet, in fact, if our actions are destroying the planet won't survive. So there was a very profound statement made in that movie. I never forgot it. In that, you know, who needs who the most for survival, right?
Yes.
So yes, once upon a time there were no people on this little ball.
And it's lasted a lot longer than we have, for sure.
Yeah, and since we've been here, we haven't done a great job keeping it going. So you know, we have to wake up to that conscious living and interdependency that we have with the planet.
So I want to talk about your book in a minute, but you do talk a lot about, you know, how we just live our lives and the food we eat and exercise and how we take care of ourselves along with that. So really changing a lot of the habits that we have that are harmful to our bodies and to our cells, but also to the planet, as you said, so that we really have to shift the whole way that we live in harmony with each other and with the earth and all living things, essentially. So we're making that shift. And I believe there's a lot of push for that, and people talk about 2012 and all of the evolution that the world is going through. But there's continuous evidence, and your whole book is really about that. And let's talk about the whole idea of the vibrational frequency piece, because if we are to be one and to be in a co-creative mode and really be conscious, we are actually shifting our vibration. Will you talk more about that and explain how that works?
Yeah, absolutely. So the book title is Raise Your Vibration, Transform Your Life. And raise your vibration has two meanings. The first one is more along the realm of raise your vibration, elevate your consciousness, be more aware of what you truly are. We're energetic beings. And know that we're not just here to exist physically. We need to strengthen that energetic side of us. The second, raise your vibration, specifically talks to vibrational frequency. And what that is, it is strictly a measurement of how electrical energy flows through our bodies. And we don't often talk about this in any science class that I'm aware of, but we are bioelectric beings. And we have this energy system, and it supports our brain, our nervous system, our muscle movement, even the ability to breathe. We have this energy source that supports everything, including our cellular health. So I wanted to introduce the concept of we are mental, physical, energetic beings, and it's a network that has to work together. If you only focus on the physical body, right, and you ignore everything else, something is going to fall off to the wayside. But I wanted people to reclaim their energetic part of themselves and understand how we can raise that vibrational frequency, how to raise the flow of energy that is going to support us by eliminating stress and toxins, by strengthening our bodies and strengthening the ability of our bodies to regenerate in a very holistic, healthy way. So the book really talks to you, the person, in terms of your thoughts are vibration. The words you speak carry a vibration, negative or positive. The foods you eat, what you consume beyond food. What are you listening to? What are you watching through the media? And it goes deeper into more metaphysical topics like working with chakras, working with natural frequencies that we find in essential oils, we find in crystals and gemstones, working with sound frequencies and color. All of these things carry vibrational elements, and if we understand them, we can start to use them in our daily life, and it will help support us in terms of keeping us healthy and strong. And then we get into more personal exercises. Every chapter in the book, there's 21 chapters. Each one carries techniques and examples and exercises for you to do on a regular basis, so it becomes a way of life. And it truly is a roadmap. I didn't want to talk to people who, this book doesn't talk to people who know about metaphysics and different energy practices. It talks to, I spoke to a group of 18-year-olds at a college last year. It talks to people who may not know that we are energetic beings, and it really introduces it in a very simple but a profound way, how to reclaim, understanding that we're energetic beings and making sure that we can start appreciating the things that help raise our vibration and also be aware of the things that lower our vibration. So the book really speaks to things that create negativity, physically and emotionally, and how to counteract that negativity.
I love that you do have examples at the end of each chapter in the exercises. Can you talk a little bit more about, give us some examples of some things that people could do to help to raise their vibration?
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of physical health, when we look at how energy needs to flow through the cells and the organs, one of the ways we can help raise that vibration internally is by making sure we help detox the body, and not just once a year. We need to detoxify multiple times because we don't live in a perfect world. The food system, there are issues, additives, unnatural ingredients. The air we breathe, there is pollution. So we need to reduce the load of toxicity in the body. And so I give a few examples of how to become more pH balanced, what sort of foods carry high frequencies. So natural foods in a very organic state. We talk about herbs. We talk about how you can alkalize your bloodstream so you're not accumulating toxins. You're actually going to help get those toxins out of the body and help prevent disease. There's a few doctors I refer to in the book who talk about cancer prevention. And just to touch on that topic, I'm a big disease prevention advocate. Some of the similarities I found when I was researching for this book when it came to cancer prevention talk about the need for adequate oxygen. We need to oxygenate the body, and there's some few examples on how you can do that. We need
I love the
to
breathing.
alkalize.
I've been doing the breathing exercises. I love those.
You know what? I do it more.
We don't
if I'm
breathe
stuck in
well.
traffic,
We really don't. Yeah. We don't do enough breathing. I thought, this is great. I need to breathe.
Yeah, and breathe deeply and nourish the body. You know, if I'm driving and the traffic's starting to get a little slow, you know, we tend to want to tense up. I do the opposite. I breathe very slowly and I calm right down because I can't control the traffic. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, the key things there that they mention on that topic is oxygenate the body, get pH balanced because we're very acidic in the North American diet, very, very acidic. Processed foods, caffeinated foods, very acidic. So we have to get that pH in balance. And the need to detox. It's not even an option anymore. And, you know, for some people, detox doesn't mean you're drinking herbal teas and you can't leave the house for 2 days. It could be a simple thing like changing your diet because certain foods have a very cleansing effect on the body. You know, and the other thing too is exercise. You know, even simple exercises. As long as we create heat in the body and we can start to sweat, we're going to be detoxing. So the body needs that heat to keep things flowing and, you know, burn up the toxins.
I think they're really that basic things that we all should be doing, and particularly where our food supply is so sketchy these days with all of the toxins and the pesticides and the additives and all of the processed food and the really horrendous things that the majority of people eat on a regular basis, and what in our even on our produce, but also in our meat, and the being aware of eating a good diet and an organic diet and paying attention to the labels and what's in your food and trying to eat more raw food. I mean, it's all basic stuff you're talking about. It's really important, and that it's amazing how few people really understand how important that is. Can you tell us the connection between having your body clean and eating well and eating organic food and exercising and really maintaining your physical body? How does that affect your vibration?
So, as I said before, energy needs to move properly, and some of the things that impede the flow of that electric energy is the fact that we are toxic. So the more toxins we have, the slower things become. I'll give you an example where we look at when we look at a diet that's very acidic, it actually promotes phlegm and mucus. And you go, well, what's going on there? And the point is, the body is realizing that, you know, when things go out of balance with acidity, it's trying to create balance. And if you're not helping your body by removing that or neutralizing that acid, it's creating phlegm and mucus to try and neutralize it for you. The problem is you might end up with sinusitis, you know, asthma, all these different symptoms. But the true source of or cause of that is because your body's trying to protect itself from the toxins that are there. Same thing with acidity. So when we remove the toxins and we remove those unnatural elements from internally, we are now freeing up, and a matter of fact, the body has more energy because it's not trying to protect you from what you've got in you. It can now start focusing on distributing that electric energy through the cells, the muscles, and the organs, and help the body regenerate. Because if you look at how our bodies were designed, we're designed to be regenerating all the time. The problem is if we don't put in the good stuff and remove the bad stuff, it's like planting a seed in soil that's toxic. You're not going to bear much fruit. So you have to look at the internal system that way. So the correlation between vibrational frequency and health is that the better that flow of energy is, the more energy you have to help regenerate your cells. But more importantly is you're going to have less likelihood of attracting disease. And so what the medical community is acknowledging using various forms of frequency work, I mean, in the States there's actual places where they're using sound frequencies to treat people with fibromyalgia and pain, various types of pain, arthritic pain, using sound vibrations. So certain frequencies can help the body repel disease, and certain frequencies can help destroy disease. When you look at ultrasound, the ultrasound machine, the ultrasound technology is using sound vibrations to promote healing within the body. So it has been around for a while, but I guess what I wanted to do, and my intention in writing this book, was to give people some personal, tangible, simple ways that they can raise their vibration themselves. I'm a very firm believer in empowerment, so I wanted to ensure that people can understand what vibration is and then start looking at their life in all these various chapters of the book and say, yeah, I can do this. This is something I need to do. I understand why this is important to me, and I understand now the connection between conscious living and my health and my energetic body. And so it's a very succinct roadmap on how to do those things in a very simple way.
And it really is. I mean, you've got so many amazing. I took a lot of notes. Like, I need to do a lot more of these things. Well, I love the idea of really allowing that if you create the right environment for your body and your spirit, you actually are able. The body is designed to heal itself. It was created to do that. We expect it to get sick. We have these thoughts about being ill, and then it happens, or getting old and breaking down. These are all conditioned responses, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. And if you are really taking care of yourself and allowing an environment where you have balance and it's oxygenated and you're eating clean food, then your body will regenerate, and you will have a much longer. We could live a lot longer than we do if we actually paid attention to that in a conscious way, as you're saying.
And live with more vitality, which is one of the subtitles in the book. It's raise your vibration so that we can have better health and vitality and inner peace, because that energy, as I said, when we take care of the insides, and not just physically but mentally and emotionally as well, there are exercises there to help calm the mind, calm the nervous system, start looking at life with more clarity, and start to distinguish, wait, is this my ego talking to me, or is this my inner wisdom talking to me? So there's some exercises and some definitions of how do you know? Is it the ego in charge, or is it inner wisdom? So when we start paying attention, pay attention to the motives of why we do things and why we're thinking certain things. The more we pay attention, the more opportunity we're going to have to rewrite that script and start living more consciously, because we're aware of what we're doing. So that's another big piece of the message in the book.
And really changing your thinking is huge in this process of knowing that you can take control of it, that a lot of the ego, again, is that conditioned stuff that all that mind chatter that keeps telling us we can't do things, or is there to protect us, but really gets in the way of us really being who we're supposed to be. So
exactly.
you have a whole chapter about forgiveness. So when we're talking now about the mind and helping the body to be balanced, will you talk about forgiveness and how important that is?
Oh, absolutely. It's a funny thing with writing about this particular topic. It was the last thing I wrote in the book, and so forgiveness. There's a saying by Alexander Pope. To err is human, but to forgive is divine. How do we reclaim our divinity? It's by finding a way to forgive. Many times people think about forgiveness as, I have to do this. It's an obligation. But what I try and remind people is It's what is this doing to you, holding on to these pain and these experiences that no longer serve you. It's affecting you. It's impacting your ability to live fully. So when you are able to get to that place of forgiveness, you are actually now moving towards what I would call your own inner divinity, because you recognize that this is actually stopping you from fully living. By coming to a place of forgiveness, you're actually freeing yourself. It's a place of freedom. And so on a vibrational level, one of the things that I talk about is reclaim your personal power. Because when we hold on to pain and spite and anger and, even all that energy that goes into I'm going to get back at so-and-so and all of that, these are very low vibrational feelings, low vibrational emotional states. So by coming to a place of forgiveness, we reclaim not just our personal power, it helps us find inner peace. You lighten your heart by removing the weight of that negative experience. You lighten your speech when you stop either complaining or accusing others of being responsible for your experience. You lighten your emotions by releasing feelings of anger, frustration, pain, and you create more room for peace and joy and love. Forgiveness frees the forgiver. You are no longer enslaved to the circumstances you thought once controlled you or were controlled by someone else. You are now free to live and to love. And when we come to a place of forgiveness, we gain strength. By recognizing our ability to withstand any circumstance or experience, we learn from it, we strengthen, and we move forward with our life.
That's beautiful. It sounds so great, but why is it so hard for us to do it?
It's hard to do because it's so personal, and we are emotional beings. And I'll just share, can I share my story with how
please.
I got there? I'll give you the perspective. I was an only child, and my parents had a hard time having kids, like getting pregnant, I guess. And so finally, after many, 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 many years, I came along. And at some point in their marriage, I just lived with my mother. So the year that I got engaged, everything was hunky-dory, and, we got married. Everything was going smoothly. But you have to imagine I've been living with my mom for a very long time. And I'm in my 20s, and life goes on. But at some point, when we decided to start a family, she felt that it was going to be too painful to lose me, and so she took an attempt to end my life. So for me, this particular journey of forgiveness was I had to bring myself to forgive someone who I love dearly, forgive them for an act of violence against me while I was 6 months pregnant with my first child.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
So,
that's a tough one.
On many levels.
Yeah.
Because for many, many decades, right, this is the only person that, I felt close to. She was my best friend, confident, everything. And so here it is, you should be celebrating. You're going to be a grandmother. And the total opposite came out. It was, you're going to leave me. Like she was envisioning us leaving her. And the fear.
Wow.
The fear was so, I didn't even fully recognize it until it was almost too late. And so that trauma while I was pregnant really took me for a shock. And how long it took me was 16 years, Cecily. It took me 16 years to get to that place of forgiveness. But I did. I did. It's very emotional on so many levels, and so I got there. And I got there, and the full story is in the book, but one of the ways I got there was to take myself emotionally out of the situation and look at it from a different point of view. And see someone who was so fearful and not even conscious of what they were doing, which brings us back to consciously living. How can you try and destroy someone that you love?
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw the fear, and I understood the different fears that she had. I finally got to that place where I could understand where it was coming from, and I forgave her. And
what did that do for you? How did?
Oh, huge! Like I lost 50 pounds. It
Wow.
was a huge burden came off of me, and you know, being a mother of 3 children myself, that whole experience has helped me become a better parent, be a better parent, knowing how she felt and the fears associated with that. And it actually instilled in me a whole different set of parenting values that I didn't grow up with. So there was some benefits that came out of that in a way that not too many people can understand, but it did make me a better parent. And understanding it's a natural process. Your children grow up. They eventually leave home. They find a mate. It's just a natural progression. And accept it. Accept it. It's part of growing up. And so for me, it made me a better parent in that respect, having seen the other side of that spectrum of a parent-child relationship.
Can you share a little more about how you actually did the letting go and the forgiving of your mom? What was the process you went through?
I actually, as I said, I took myself emotionally out of it. It took a long time to do that because I remember even having my daughter 3 months later, like the whole memory was there for so many years. But one day I sat down and I started to write what happened as if I was writing a story about what happened. And here were these 2 characters, and I focused on her character, and I gave a background of what could have led up to this person acting in the way they did. And I went back into her past, and I started to see where those fears came from. You know, growing up as a child, she lost both parents at a young age. And so just going through all those threads of, you know, afraid of not having children, finally having a child. Now you think you're going to lose that child. All of those fears, everything was intertwined. And I really put it all together, and I saw a person that I didn't see 16 years before because I was so emotionally traumatized by this that I couldn't see her in that light. And it took me a long time, but that's what I did. I went back to the person and understanding what caused you to get to this point, what brought you to this place, and looking at the life, looking at the childhood, looking at the relationship, looking at, you know, the difficulty even getting pregnant, all of it. I just focused on what got her there. And I saw her in a totally new light. Many times we see someone and we've got preconceived, you know, definition of a person, but take that away and really look at what has got this person to where they are today. Why do they talk this way? Why do they behave this way? What has shaped their experience? And it took me, as I said, many years to get to that point. But I'm thankful I did because it just helped open up my heart even more, you know, to being a mother and raising my family. So, you know, I'm thankful I was able to put myself out of it emotionally and look at it more objectively. And it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, but it is, especially with a parent or a family member, and it is challenging to be able to have that more of an objective view and really look at it from their point of view, from their shoes kind of thing, and where's the compassion you can have for what happened to this person, and realize that it was their issue that they were reacting from, and not take it so personally, because that's what we do when we hold on to that resentment. And being able to clear that was toxic in your body. That was huge.
Oh, emotionally, huge, beyond belief. Many times I couldn't even. I mean, my children will tell you, I could not even say her name for about 12 years.
Wow.
I could not say her name. That is the extent of which. The first 12 years I could not say her name. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Could not say it. So, yeah. So it a lot of inner work, a lot of looking from a new point of view, but, you know, it was necessary.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that example, because I'm sure there are people listening who have something that they've held on to for many years, as you did, and realized how that really is affecting in their lives, and carrying that, and the amount of energy that it took for you to hold all of that resentment and anger towards her. So that was really jamming the flow of energy that you're talking about here.
Yeah, especially, as I said, to be a parent and having that memory, it's you know, it makes things difficult, and you're not fully, you know, if you're not fully emotionally healed, you're going to have a whole different perspective of life than when that healing happens and you free up your heart. It was necessary, and I'm glad I got there to do it. But overall, that's really the message in the book, is that by learning to raise your personal vibration, you're going to encounter other people with high vibrations. You're going to attract more positivity in your life, and things will go a lot smoother because you are sending out that positive vibration. Interactions become more peaceful. Everything just flows into life a lot smoother.
I want to stop right here for a minute and just ask for questions, as we're coming up towards the end, and I do want to talk about love and your heart and living in joy, because I think it is your message, and it is important for people to end with that. So I want to ask at this point if anyone has a question for Dawn. You can raise your hand. If you're on the phone, you can raise your hand with a *2, or if you're on the webcast, you can just write in that little box and let us know what your question is, and I'll ask you to do that now. If you raise your hand, *2 on the phone. Let me just check and see if there's anything written in the webcast. All right, Donna, looks like no one is willing to step up and ask you some questions here tonight. So
they're being shy.
They're being shy, but that's okay. All right, so that happens. So that's okay. And what I really do want you to talk more about is your last chapter, and once you have gotten through all of this and you've taken care of yourself and physically and mentally, and you've released things through forgiveness, then you are into that last chapter of living in love. Will you talk about that? What's that like?
Absolutely. One of the things that I received was a message on the other side in 2003. And it's the last thing I say in the book, but it's also the first thing I want to remind everybody of, and that is, all you need is within you. All you need is within you. And I remember waking up one morning within days of my near death and just repeating this affirmation about love. I was just saying it over and over again like a prayer. And I'll just read it to you. Praise love above me, praise love below me, praise love around me, praise love within me. Love is all I am. Love is all I have. Love is all I need. And love is all I give. And I remember repeating this over and over and over again, and I felt my body getting lighter and lighter and lighter, because the more I felt love around me and above me and below me, that's how I started my day. I would repeat this every morning when I woke up. This went on for months. And it's probably one of the fastest ways to raise your vibration, because the highest vibration is love. Love. And so the more love we recognize inside of us, the more love we send out around us, the more love is coming back to us. And so the last chapter is all about living in love and loving yourself. And not, when I say love yourself, not egotistically, it's loving myself. I love myself. I will not harm myself. I love myself so much, I will not continue behaviors and actions that are harmful to me. And, a simple thing, again, could be changing the foods you eat, because you recognize healthy versus non-healthy foods. Not speaking in a harmful way to others. So we change the vibration of our words by speaking more lovingly. And so love can be applied in all aspects of the book, because ultimately love is the highest vibration. And so this is why I end the book with, to remember all you need is within you, and to keep that love flowing. By knowing that that is what's happening, you're going to choose the best options for you because of love. And that's really the message in the book.
And it's a beautiful message. And I love the affirmation. It is a beautiful. You do feel lighter when you say it. I mean, you have a physical reaction to it. Absolutely. It is beautiful.
And so it's a great way to start. I start my day. Good way to start the day, honestly. So
well, it's part of, like you said, consciously living, to choose things that make you feel expanded and lighter, as opposed to contracted and heavy, which is what we're used to doing. Yeah.
That's right. That's exactly it. So we can all get there. I'm a firm believer we can all get there. And so the light workers of the world, we're doing our work, and we're spreading love and, empowering other people to accept more love into themselves, their lives, and see the world with a different perception, because it's all energy. And energy can change like that, It's so simple. And I think people go, wow, this is simple. Yes, it is simple, but the results will be profound, and the transformation is going to be profound.
Beautiful. Great. Well, Dawn, this has been an amazing conversation with you. I've really enjoyed learning more about you and the message in your book, and you've shared so much and so intimately. So I want to thank you for your generosity in that. And will you just re-emphasize with people what's going on with you? How could people get in touch with you? What are some of the things, services that are going on? And
Oh, absolutely. Well, two big announcements to make. One, Raise Your Vibration, Transform Your Life. We are now global, so you can get the book from Amazon.com, Amazon UK, Barnes & Noble, Baker Taylor, Ingram. If you'd like a personal autograph copy, you can order an autograph copy on the website, raiseyourvibration.ca. The big news, Raise Your Vibration will be in Spanish for December. So this book will be translated into Spanish in December. And the other big news is Book 2 will be available in 2012, and it's called Raise the Vibration Around You. So we're going to get a little further out beyond the physical body and look at the world around us. How do we raise the vibration around us? So that will be coming out the summer of 2012. Excellent,
and a great concept too. And so you also do workshops, and you have you're speaking.
Yes, if you go to the website www.raiseyourvibration.ca, All of the events are posted on our event page. Most recent thing is a women's retreat in November in Toronto, and we'll be on tour in Atlanta and Vermont, November 2nd to the 5th. So anybody in Atlanta or Vermont, I hope to see you soon. I'll be there in 2 weeks.
Excellent. All right. Well, Dawn, this is it's been a great conversation, and I've so enjoyed speaking with you. And what I want to do is just to say goodnight to our listeners and hope that they also enjoyed this opportunity to speak with you tonight. So thank you all, and thank you, Dawn, for sharing so well with us today.
Thank you, Cecily.
Take care,
I had
everyone.
a wonderful time.
All right,
Thanks.
great.